This is Harlem, a place almost everybody has heard of, but where most outsiders have never been. Every urban problem that plagues this country is represented here, and you can find it all within a few blocks of this rooftop. Broken families, rampant street crime, the worst housing this side of Calcutta.
1975. Now, the reason I wanted to share this with y'all is because hit one if you've heard that the reason the black community is the way it is because crack hit in 1985, the crack epidemic. Hit one if you've heard that. And panelists, have y'all heard that?
It was heroin before that.
Yeah, it was heroin that far back.
No, but if you listen to these people, crack ruined the black community.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah.
This is 19...
Crack and only crack. It just happened just recently in the 1980s. Like in 1979, y'all were like building rocket ships and singing Kumbaya around the fucking campfire and shit. It was amazing. I don't know what us white folks did to y'all, man.
Yeah, just like the Irish before they discovered whiskey.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is 1975, January 23rd, 1975, and 10 years before the crack epidemic.
This is Harlem, a place almost everybody has heard of, but where most outsiders have never been. Every urban problem that plagues this country is represented here, and you can find it all within a few blocks of this rooftop. Broken families, rampant street crime, the worst housing this side of Calcutta, alcoholism,
Geraldo Rivera,
gangs, and the worst plague of all, drug addiction. At first, this segment was intended simply as an investigation of the heroin epidemic. The poppies are growing again in Turkey, and I wanted to see if the Turkish main line had been reconnected. But Harlem, even the pits of Harlem, is a story so much larger than just junk and junkies. As James Baldwin once said, walk down any street in Harlem and see what we, this nation, have become. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going on the block. This is Harlem. Welcome to America's backyard.
Rap hadn't even been invented yet. Hip hop hadn't even come around yet.
America's backyard? Try America's fucking sewer.
Yes. This is the ghetto.
2 or 3 years ago, federal officials estimated that there were 500,000 heroin addicts in the United States. Half of them lived in New York City, and half of those lived in Harlem. Since then, some of the heroin flow into this country from the Mediterranean has been stopped, and the number of junkies has dropped by at least a third. Thousands of others have been enrolled in government-sponsored methadone clinics, substituting one addiction for another, slightly less harmful, slightly less antisocial. But on the street corners and alleyways of Harlem, heroin is still king. There are clusters of men and women waiting around to score. This is the block. This is nowhere. How much are you using now every day?
Now, would run me every bit of about $40 to $70, $40 to $75 actually.
I gotta get my inflation calculator, man. Find out how much $40 was in 1970. This brother don't look like he should be spending that much money on fucking.
I did a bunch of research on where wholesale heroin came from, and in 1977, 90% of it came from Mexico.
Oh wow!
So Wicked, where are you at, Wicked? Wicked, come on, man, come up here and defend yourself, man. Like last night, Wicked's trying to tell me like doing heroin was like strictly a glider thing, like it's just part of our DNA. And now it seems to me like
same as fentanyl today.
Human beings, like human beings, no matter what color they are, like to get high. And it looks like the brothers had obviously had their bout with heroin too.
Yeah, definitely. They still do. My uncle,
brothers are the only ones I know doing PCP still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention, like, it's not like, yeah, I mean, and look where it's all. It's not like this shit is coming. You know, there ain't no poppy fields in Philadelphia. You know, like this shit. Yeah, like my man just said, it's all coming up from Mexico.
Yeah. So $70, what he says he spends a day on heroin in 1975, $70 would now be $387.75.
Wow.
Where's he getting all the money, Alec?
So back then they were getting like dollar bags instead of today's $5 bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Waiting around to score. This is the block. This is nowhere. How much are you using now every day?
Now will run me every bit of about $40 to $70, $40 to $75 actually.
Now, where do you get that bread?
Whatever way I can, actually.
And where is that? Now, tell me, to be straight with me now.
Now that's all like as far as like just hustling, really.
Well, you rip off people too? Now, you got to tell me straight.
Yeah, well, like, hey, if I have to.
Let me see.
Well,
Let me see your
hustling
arms.
is.
Let me see where you're shooting at.
But it's up there.
Now, you've been using this for 8 years, the same arm here?
No,
Look how he's just touching that guy's arm. Geraldo.
And where is that? Now, tell me, to be straight with me now.
now that's all.
Geraldo, you gotta give Geraldo. So he's the real deal, man. As a journalist, he always been the real deal, man.
Guerrilla journalism. He's the
He
inventor.
was the real deal.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's the real fucking deal, man.
As far as like just hustling, really.
Well, you rip off people too? Now, you got to tell me straight.
Yeah, well, like, hey, if I have to.
Let me see your arms. Let me see where you're shooting at.
But it's up there.
Now, you've been using this for 8 years, the same arm here?
No, I've been using both of them, but this one is a brand new one. You know, that I just started back with.
Let me ask you something. Don't you think you're killing yourself?
Well, I can tell you that, right, truthfully, yeah.
How many years you been using that?
Like 22 years right now.
22 years you've been using?
Yeah,
How old are you now?
I'm 35.
Oh, you've been using it for 22 years. He's 35.
And he's 35.
13.
He's 35. Oh my god. Yeah, I was really 13 years old. His first year being a fucking teenager, is when he started doing heroin. That's fucking ridiculous.
That's
13 is
real.
that's the first time I smoked a little bit of weed. This fucking guy jumped already fucking all the way to heroin.
Yeah, it was like
Right.
that in New Orleans too. The little kids.
Yeah, y'all, yeah, definitely New Orleans. Yes, New Orleans, they be nodding, little kids be nodding off in public. Yeah, this is the son man been fucking with heroin.
Let me ask you something. Don't you think you're killing yourself?
Well, I can tell you that, right, truthfully, yeah.
How many years you been using that?
Like 22 years right now.
22 years you've been using?
Yeah,
How old are you now?
I'm 35 now.
Where you getting your junk now?
I get it anywhere I can, uptown, downtown, you know, or I even go to Jersey sometime.
Where's the dope coming from now?
Right now, like, I don't know where, like, it coming from, but, like, I just get it from whoever got it.
And how do you get the bread to get it?
I do a little of everything. I might even rob, I might do burglary and everything like that, you know.
Have you ever been?
A little robbery, a little burglary, you know.
You ever seen
Then
some
AIDS came.
Tuck a little something in the alley, you know.
Just the old son man pastimes, you know.
Yeah, he would definitely suck a dick to get high. Like these guys, as strung out as they are, the heroin addict would do anything to get high. I know a guy who sold heroin in Washington, D.C., man, and he got robbed with a needle. A dope fiend came up to him with a needle and put it up to his up to his body and was like, give me something. I need to get high. Give me some shit. And he said he gave it to him, but he said he couldn't chance it.
Yeah, you're lucky if all you get is monkeypox.
Yeah. This was years ago though, but this they'll do anything for that shit. Anything. So yeah, man, dope fiend, man, it definitely will suck a dick. I would never put nothing past them.
From now.
Right now, like I don't know where like it coming from, but like I just get it from whoever got it.
And how do you get the bread to get it?
I do a little of everything. I might even roll. I might do burglary and everything like that. You know.
Have you ever been in jail?
Oh, many a time.
How many times?
I can't even count them. There's so many.
Don't you think you're on a one-way street, brother?
Matter of fact, I know I'm on a one-way street, but like, I can't do no better.
Let's see where you're shooting at. Sure, that's an old scar. Look at that. Now, how do you feel about this, man? Let me ask you.
Let me tell you something. Every time I look at it, it hurt my feelings. You understand? I feel like less than a man when I look at it.
What about your family?
That's why that's how I feel less than a man. No, I know how my people feel.
Well, when did you start using heroin?
When I was 20 years old. I'm 30 now.
Do you have any children?
Yes, 2. A boy, 4 years old, and a girl, 7.
Were they born addicted?
Well, my daughter was born addicted to heroin, and my son was born addicted to methadone.
Well,
God, dog.
Good job.
Jesus Christ.
The standard of white beauty right there.
Yeah, this is damn.
Privilege just leaking through her skin.
Yeah, this is crazy. And they would share needles back in those days. Yeah, this is just like passing a joint. Passing the needle was like passing the joint in the pre-HIV days. They just passed that shit. These people. Whew.
How did that make you feel as a mother?
Lousy.
But I mean, couldn't you do something about it?
What can you do? You know, that stuff seems to have you overpowered some kind of way, and even those that are really love more than it is, you know, heroin and stuff, it just can't seem to do nothing about it.
How did you get hooked?
Well, some fella I met in the Bronx, I was going out with him, and he was using drugs. I didn't know it at the time, and he just offered it to me, and I took it like a fool, and then after that, I just continued using it. I liked it. And when I got addicted to it, I needed it.
How much are you using now every day?
About 2 quarters.
How much is 2 quarters?
About $150 now, about anywhere from 55 to 60 a quarter.
God damn.
Hold on, let me see how much.
Just about 800. Just about 800 a day.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, where the fuck are these seven getting that money from, man?
Look at all this oppression going on, man.
And he's still got Mad Dog money to boot.
Yeah, that's definitely Mad Dog 2020 in there. He got $830 a day fucking heroin addiction habit. $830 a day if it was by today's money. He's spending a day. God.
Little Robin, Little Jackin.
Salute to Johnny Rev. He said drop 3 Twitter threads in the comments. Okay, all right, good. We're gonna get to that. Yikes, man. Yeah, make sure y'all hit the PayPal, Cash App, Super Chat. Continue to support the channel, man. This is I mean, look, the Hot Black, have you heard that crack destroyed the black community in 1985?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a fucking kumbaya wonderland, you know, Black Wall Street before CIA came in and said, "Here's the crack." Y'all,
every white man in America has been regaled with stories of how wonderful the black community was before we fucked them up with crack.
I mean,
every white man knows
was
the
definitely
legend.
selling some shit or distributing shit, but it's
drop
the CIA
drop
went in and caused the Sun people to become dependent on a substance like that. That shit was gonna happen no matter what it was that you got in there.
Just go to Africa.
Crack was just a different type of drug. Like it was a different type of drug, I guess. Like
Africa and
it was cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All drugs affect the community with generally less impulse control than, more harshly, right? I mean, whether it's marijuana or anything. I mean,
yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then you have why are some people getting arrested more for using drugs? Well, because unlike gliders. A lot of the time, some people are sitting on the corner using the drugs, and in public or on the porch and that kind of thing. And
or they're wilding out in public.
yeah, well, I'm talking
And
about
they're
innocent
selling
people.
it, and they're selling it in public.
In Africa, it's the cack that's out there. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It's
chat. They're called a chat.
Cat, yeah, it's a Somalian thing.
Yeah, it's like I've never had that, but I've heard that they like that stuff over there.
Oh yeah, a bunch of my friends in New Orleans back in the day they had a phase where they were doing all that shit. Cat.
Oh wow, shit. But yeah, this brother right here, this is a strong faced brother. This brother is straight out the jungle, man.
How much is 2 quarters?
About $150 now, about anywhere from 55 to 60 a quarter.
Now, that's an awful lot of money. Some people don't get paid that much money in a whole week. Where are you getting it from?
Yeah, well, I boost. Boosting is stealing, in layman's terms, weighing like,
Who do you steal from?
Anywhere and everywhere. Like I say, I'm a thief.
But what was the last time you stole?
I'm saying, last time I stole was day before yesterday.
The day before yesterday?
Yeah.
What was it?
Meats.
Who'd you steal it from?
From department stores, supermarkets.
From the alcoholic businessman to his pill-popping suburban housewife,
So,
there are drug addicts at every level of American.
Food deserts.
This looks like Bosnia Herzegovina or something right here. This doesn't even look like America. This looks like an aftermath of an airstrike.
Right, they was burning them buildings down, getting their money and getting the hell out of there.
This is Black Wall Street after the white man burned it down.
Oh yeah, Black Wall Street was like a bunch of hair salons too.
That same land right now is $20 million an acre.
Oh yeah, Gliders came and made a fucking this is utopia.
To get the money he needs to buy his drugs, a heroin dope fiend will sell anything he can get his hands on. Anything that has a resale value on the street. Anything from a stolen TV set to his own girlfriend. Your girlfriend here is a prostitute and she turns the money over to you.
Yes, well, yeah, right. You could say that.
Well, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I don't like it at all, but it's the only way I could do it right now.
Think about this. This guy's on TV pimping out a white woman, and we supposed to believe that it was yes, a ball. Just don't hit me again, white man. I'm sorry, white man. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it, white man.
Bitch, get up there and make me that money. I think that might be a humbrita.
Oh, fellas, hush up. Here comes the white man. Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Charlie.
Is that the woman we heard talking about her addiction earlier?
No, I don't know if this is the same woman, but I know this is very common. If you ever saw
she got thicker this one got thicker eyebrows than the other one.
Did you see The Deuce? It came on HBO a couple years ago. It was a miniseries called The Deuce. It was about 42nd Street. I think it was, whether it was 142nd Street or 42nd Street in New York back in the day. And all the fucking Sun men had fucking white prostitutes. All the Sun pimps, all of them. It was just flooded with Sun pimps. And it's nothing but white prostitutes.
Is not correct as far as a legal job, and I'm getting over out here.
You mean you're making money here?
Yeah, except for the cops, when the cops are out here.
How many times have you been arrested?
Twice.
Well, how do you feel? Like having to sell yourself so he can buy drugs?
Well, I use it too, and even if I wasn't, I know that if things were reversed, he'd do the same thing for me. We've been together a while, and we started off. He was working.
See him look away when she said that?
Yeah, he looked away because he would. Trust me, he would suck a dick for if he's a heroin addict, he would suck a dick for. If he would,
he would for himself, not for her.
Yeah, exactly, not for her. He would do it for himself.
Right. Of course, yeah. He that was telling. That was body language. Body language never lies, man.
It too, and even if I wasn't, I know that if things were reversed, he'd do the same thing for me. We've been together a while, and we started off. He was working, taking care of me, and I know that if it was reversed, he'd look out for me.
How long you been together?
We've been together now a little over a year.
Are you in love with each other?
A year. All that happened in a year. So he went from working and taking care of her
to pimping in a year.
That shit take you down fast, huh?
That's true love right there.
Why not? Of course, the feeling is there. You know, something must be there. You know.
Almost half the population of Harlem
Uh-oh.
is under 20 years
Something.
old, and most kids between 16 and 20 are out of school.
Yo, that's terrifying. Half the population is under 20 years old. Yo, that
Just
is
like Africa.
That's frightening, man. That place had to be terrible, man. Back in with violence. I mean, fucking terrible.
Didn't we get to the 80s right after that with the terrible violence?
No, I'm talking about the violence had to be terrible then. We haven't been taught that. They've probably hid that from us.
Yeah, they weren't making movies about it and pop culture.
Sure, the Sun Man might be terrible now, but back in the 40s, there was terrible violence in the Sun community back then too, and the
They
decade before
wasn't
that, and the decade
killing
before
each
that.
other like how they doing now. I'm sure not, because I mean now
Maybe
it's
not
like
the
guns
clip they are
galore.
now, but I'm just there's been violence. Not the clip that's going now. I'll give you that for sure.
Yeah, but I'm sure the population per population, I bet. I'm gonna look into that though.
Still the highest.
Between 16 and 20,
Yeah.
20 are out of school, and most of those are out of work. Because they have not much else to do and no place else to belong, they've organized themselves into street gangs. Gangs which bear no resemblance at all to the Hollywooded, tinseled version that you saw in the movie West Side Story. With names that would be comically preposterous
Yeah, this is like
under any other
Southside Nightmare
circumstance.
right here.
They were calling themselves savages back in 1975. So this whole thing, savage, I'm a savage, that they do today, that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just hasn't changed much. And I wouldn't say that they were necessarily like back then making up the majority of the violence like I think they are now. You know, gliders were a lot more violent back in these days, but there's still violence in the community.
I think they were, because the mob and shit, they were killing each other. The mob wasn't doing drive-by shooting up grandmothers and shit and kids. The mob was killing other mobsters and killing other people they were forcing them their activities on.
Right, with guns. They was out there blasting.
I bet the majority of the fucking homicides in New York City back in the day was Sunday.
Well,
Names
the mob
like
was
the Spanish
also
Kings or the Savage
beating up and
Samurai.
intimidating more than blasting.
Yeah.
There are 269 street gangs in this city, 36.
God damn it.
And most kids between 16 and 20 are out of school, and most of those are out of work. Because they have not much else to do and no place else to belong, they've organized themselves into street gangs. Gangs which bear no resemblance at all to the Hollywooded, tinseled version that you saw in the movie West Side Story. With names that would be comically preposterous under any other circumstances, names like the Spanish Kings or the Savage Samurai, there are 269 street gangs in this city. 36 of them are in Harlem. Ask the folks in the neighborhood about them and you'll get two stories. To some, they're the new vigilantes, scouring the streets, preying on the dope dealers that prey on the people. To others, the gangs are just so many more muggers, thieves, and bullies, ruling neighborhood territories like feudal warlords, only adding to the problems of the block. Refuge from this harsh life on the street is often found on the rooftops, and here a boy nicknamed Slick gets away from it all by presiding over a coop of 16 pigeons.
So what you think, Og? You think they're
How long are you
warriors
flying
for
your
the
birds,
community, or you think they're preying on the community? I'm going to go with the latter because they say the same shit about it today. Like, oh, you know, the gangs are out there keeping peace in the street. I don't think so.
Nah, that's all.
You need to cut
And
this
they were
for a
they were
bit.
battling with the drug dealers for the territory, not to run them out.
What you say, Johnny?
You need to cut this for a vid.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is crazy. This is slick. Raphael Slick, something quiz.
By presiding over a coop of 16 pigeons. How long have you been flying your birds, Slick?
Been flying about 5 years.
How does it make you feel when you see your birds up there?
Makes me feel good.
How come?
To know that I could train them, you know. Because at first when I was starting to train them, I used to lose the birds.
And now?
Now I could train them. Now I know how to teach them. They always stay here. They never go nowhere. They always stay in their home. They don't go no other place. How do you feel looking down on Harlem instead of being on the streets? I don't know. It's better to be on the roof because on the street is too much trouble. Too many things going on in the street.
These sooty, graceless pigeons are the closest things these kids have to wildlife, and that almost gives the birds a certain elegance.
Good thing you're not on YouTube. You might get a copyright strike for the music.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hey,
Yeah.
You remember the
What?
movie Warriors?
Yeah, this is them. This is exactly that. This is what inspired that.
Yeah, but those numbers that that Cyrus gave in the beginning when he was having the talk with them all in the park,
Mm-hmm.
those numbers were correct
Oh yeah.
on the amount of gang members, more than police that New York had at the time.
Without a doubt.
Renegades, when Roy Rosa, their president, and Rolando Gonzalez, the vice president, finally figured out that they were all running nowhere at full speed ahead. They met a building contractor, a tough ex-Marine named Tom Foscolas. Tom convinced the city government to turn over one of the hundreds of abandoned buildings in East Harlem to the gang, and now they're rehabilitating the building and their own lives.
The Renegades were first into drugs, from drugs into a big mass riot revolution, as they would say. They started off with gun shooting, knife fights, antenna fights.
Told you.
I stand corrected.
Everybody was out to get everybody else. You know, one gang to another gang, you know, mess them up, that's it, you know. They're no good. They're our enemy. Beat them up, take their colors, and destroy everything that they can see in their way. If it's something that was in their path, knock it down. They don't care what it was.
What kind of stuff are you into now?
We're rehabilitating a building over here on 119th Street and 2nd Avenue. And before that, we had built 2 parks on 118th Street between 2nd and 3rd. And ever since, that's what we've been doing.
Rehabilitating not only the building, but yourself.
The building ourselves, the community, the people around us, the people that live in these slums. We're trying to help everybody.
Tom, how'd the project get started?
Project gets started because a group of people referred to as the Renegades of Harlem.
Glider. Glider came in and fucking told him. Said, why is he always taking?
Yeah,
So the local gangs did an outreach project. That's real nice.
Yeah. Right now, an apartment in one of those buildings at 119th and 2nd Avenue, $6,200 a month.
Jesus Christ. Wow. $6,200 a month. But what would that be in that time? In 1975, man.
Wouldn't have been nothing in those buildings.
Yeah, the property
back, you're like what?
I put a link in the side chat. It shows
a month, $800 a month.
It shows the buildings. The ones they're standing next to, what they look like now.
Mm-hmm. It's $6,200 a month.
It's like these guys did such an amazing job, you know, making the neighborhood better that it was dirt cheap when a bunch of gliders came in to buy everything up, and now the neighborhood's super expensive.
That was $1,119 in 1975, which is a shit ton of money in 1975. But which
they're paying for a drug habit that $800
these properties were not worth that. You know, just
they weren't. No.
Yeah.
The buildings that the city gave them, that's what they're worth today.
No, but I'm saying whatever building that you would have paid $6,200 a month in, that would have been $1,119. And the Sun Man spending $150 in 1975 in a day in heroin. So some man had money.
Yeah.
They was working, functioning.
Yeah, they was
Yeah, you know, by preying on the local populace, not by like working in
Right.
any legitimate capacity.
Right.
Started because a group of people referred to as the Renegades of Harlem, youth gang for the people, decided to begin to rebuild their own community and have been doing so for the last 3.5 years.
Do you see what the Renegades have done with this building as a model for other street gangs in other neighborhoods and other cities?
Absolutely. You know, the street gang, the word gang is a very funny word. And if you look at what Webster has to say, it basically says a group of people working together. Now, it's unfortunate in our society, we've been taught that a gang is a destructive force. The Renegades have proven otherwise.
At night, to walk down certain streets in Harlem is not merely frightening, it's totally reckless. On 8th Avenue, on a winter night like...
Did you hear that? To walk down the street in Harlem is not frightening, it's reckless. You're being reckless by walking down the street in Harlem. Oh.
Streets in Harlem is not merely frightening, it's totally reckless. On 8th Avenue, on a winter night like this one, the only people hanging out are either the sharks looking for something to score or the people invulnerable to attack because they have nothing left to lose. Except for the prostitutes or the hopelessly addicted, most of the women are inside. So are the children. They're a whole other story that I can just show you an example of. Unfortunately, the example is typical. With a community worker named Nelson Dawes, I visited a desperately poor Puerto Rican family in East Harlem. To see the apartment they live in, you can appreciate how laughable are expressions like the war on poverty.
There are 8 kids in the family, ranging in ages from 19 to 4 years of age.
Now, I understand that there is no father, and the mother didn't want to be on camera because she's embarrassed about all this.
Yes, that's correct. This is a one-parent household, which is usually the norm for people living in this community.
How do they make it? Why do they have to live this way? Maybe that question is rhetorical. Maybe it doesn't have an answer. I don't know. But, I mean, in your experience, what's happening here?
Well, I think what's happening is that the services that are supposed to be available for families like this is non-existent, given all of the...
Think about if you're a man who likes children, right? You like molesting children. All you would have to do is brush up, tell one of these fucking single moms how beautiful they are, you know, fuck their brains out one good time, and you could have access to all these kids, man. Unfettered.
The rhetoric.
But there was no program that was ever made to feed single parent families with 8 fucking children.
Yeah, I mean,
even then they were going out.
I mean, she obviously she got plenty of time to get dick. She got plenty of time to get dick.
You got one kid that ain't around. I mean, like it's time to stop. You know, like cut it the fuck out, man. I never understood that shit. Like, why the fuck do you have so many fucking kids?
Did anybody see that video that Gen Z did the other day about the gang of kids shooting in Atlanta and the press conference with Peaches from the streets giving testimony? And the woman that went before her was really, you know, the grandmother of the little Zion who died. And she got up there and she's like, I'm a 48-year-old grandmother of 15.
Holy shit.
Like, what else do you have to say?
I bet she was single too.
Yeah.
They aren't having kids to, like, you know, have lots of healthy farm stock to maintain the land. These are all feeding off the state.
It's impulse control too. Like they don't have the impulse control.
Dude, in my experience, some women just like they know perfectly well what birth control is, but they just ain't it.
They don't use that shit. Some woman, you listen, man. You can meet some woman at the club and take her home and fuck her raw. It's
and tell her that, and she'd be like, I know.
Yeah, it's really real like that, man.
Or poverty.
Oh yeah, we just did the story the other day. The 2 girls went to spring break and came back pregnant and don't know who the fathers are. We just did that story the other day.
And the dismemberment of Oreo, which was supposed to assist social programs, that has never come down to this level. As far as any upgrading the quality of their life, given the 10 years that have gone by, nothing has really happened.
What's your name?
Raymond.
How old are you, Raymond?
9.
9 years old?
Yes.
Are you in school?
Yes.
What grade are you in?
Second.
What's his name?
Well, in this negatively poverty place, they've got a roof over their heads. They've got puppies. I mean, goodness.
Clothes.
And look
Yeah.
at look at who does the outreach. Look at who reaches out to these people to try to help them and give a helping hand and try to comfort them and aid them in their time of need. Look at who it is.
It's the best interview I ever did.
Children are the only hope in the life of this neighborhood. This man is deaf. He's the dope dealer, and he operates unchecked and unafraid despite a new law that provides a mandatory life sentence for heroin pushers.
What do you deal?
Damn, they wasn't playing back then. A mandatory life sentence. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You out there on them bricks, you a real gangster, man. You a real fucking gangster.
Well, that was one hit. That wasn't after 3 strikes.
Right.
That was one hit, and everybody's bitching about the Biden fucking law.
Yeah, the Biden crime bill was so tough. Now it's fucking nothing. Now you can be a fucking pussy and be out there because there's no consequences to anything. Shit. Bring this shit back. Fuck it. Bring back the fucking life sentence for drug dealers. Bring that shit back. Hit one if you down for that, man. Hit one if you down for that. And don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Hit one if you down for that, two if you not. Life sentence for drug dealers, man. Heroin drug dealer, fentanyl, heroin, fentanyl drug dealer.
And he operates unchecked and unafraid despite a new law that provides a mandatory life sentence for heroin pushers.
What do you deal?
Anything I can deal. Anything I can get some money from. I'm a hustler. If the money is right, I'm right.
How much can you make dealing heroin every week?
$5,000.
How much do you need to support your own habit?
$5,000 a fucking week.
In the 70s.
I was just about to say that. Like the 70s were fucked up. The economy was fucked up. I used to hear all the fucking stories from my dad and shit.
That would
And there's no reason we can't build generational wealth, huh?
That would be $27,696 today, a week. And I believe that because
I'll take that. I'll be a billionaire by the time I die.
Look at all the fucking stuff. They said what half of the I think they said half of the heroin addicts in America were in New York, and half of those were in Harlem at this time. So I can believe that. I can believe that he made $27,000 a day. I mean a week back in those days.
I don't have a habit.
You mean you don't have a habit and you're still dealing heroin?
That's where the money's at.
Don't you feel bad about that?
I don't feel bad. Know why?
Why?
Because, you see, I knew that it's a dog-eat-dog world. You know, and society as we know it now is to get money. Any way you can get it. The more money, if you got enough money, ain't no limit to the things you can do. On the other hand, if you don't have any money, you can't do nothing.
Well, how many people get hurt by you doing that? How many people just get strung out on dope by your dealing?
That's their problem. That's their problem.
I'm a wash in melanated compassion over here.